what we're going to be cutting today is a modern version of a shag. And the way that I see this happening, kind of working out, is we're going to base it on a center parting. And I'm going to pull condensed sections from the sides all the way up to the top. And then also in the back, we're going to condense a little bit as well. And I want to keep this hair as long as possible. So here, let me take you guys over here, kind of show you guys how we're going to map this out a little bit. So on the top section, let's go in here. So in the top section of the hair here, I'm going to split everything right behind the ear. And this is where we talk about this a lot, how the hairline comes down. So you want to look at your guest's hairline and really look at how does it kind of follow the head shape, or how does it kind of flow. So most people have kind of a pretty straight up and down hairline right here behind the ear. So what I like to do is follow that hairline up and create my sectioning that way. So I'll show you guys on the head how I do that. So that separates the front and the back of the head. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this entire section and we're going to pull it up. So let me see if we're going to pull it up about here, and we're going to scoop into it and cut it with the tri-razor. So we're going to do a little bit of scooping action, and this entire section is going to come up to this point here. Now in the back, we're going to pull everything to the sides. So it'll be more, if I come down here, go right about here. So in the back, so you've got your sectioning, which splits right behind the ear. So that's our parting that's going to go to the other side. You've got your parting down the center, right? And then you've got all this hair that's going to come up to the front right here and kind of be cut at that point. A little bit further up, but you guys get the point there. Now in the back, I'm going to bring everything over to this side, on each side. So I'm going to take this, split it in the back here, and I'm going to take this section and I'm going to pull the entire thing over here and cut it at this point. So everything will come to here. So just like that and over. And we're going to do that. What that's going to do is that's going to pull all the hair, cut it shortest on the sides, which is kind of where I want it to live with the shag. And then it's going to grow, or not grow, but it's going to get longer into the back in the middle area. So the longest part of this haircut will live right in the center back, and then everything else will be kind of weight removed throughout it. So I'll show you guys how you get the guides and all of that as we work through. Hopefully that's a good enough visual for you guys. All right. And I just colored this mannequin. That tutorial will be coming out pretty soon. But we had some fun with some fantasy colors. So now we'll go through and cut it, and you'll be able to see that end result. All right. Let's see. So hair treatment, at what price? All right, so I'm looking through the questions. Let's try to keep them as specific to this as we can. Obviously, you know, you guys can post questions whenever you want to, but we'll try to keep it as much on this subject for this video, and then I will do like a Q&A where I answer a lot of other questions as well. So here we go. So we're going to go straight back. Zoom in a little bit. So I'm going to comb the hair straight back, look for the nose, and I'm going to draw my line straight back to the crown, like that. So you can see that kind of deep purple fashion color root that we put in there. It's going to look cool on the end result. And now that we've got this parted down the center, now I want to find my two sides and split this in half. So finding the back, we've talked about this a lot. Best way to do it is kind of peel apart the hair so you can start to see where that hairline starts. So I've got that there, and then I section it away. So then I'll bring all of this forward and we'll clip it. Bring it to the front of the head, nice and tight. And I'll clip it. Now, the reason I want to show you guys this type of haircut is in the current salon environment, how we're working, a lot of us have to work a little bit faster because we're not allowed to bring in as many clients. So, you know, if you're going to make money, you got to work just a little bit faster. Obviously, you got to work safe and all of that too, and you need great results. So these haircuts are minimalizing the amount of steps it takes and still creating a, you know, beautiful look in the hair. So here, down, I'll comb the rest forward. Normally I would stand in front of this, but you guys wouldn't be able to see. There we go, vertical line. Comb the rest of the hair to the front. Just like this. So you want to get it nice and tight at the root, like I said, and then right here, we'll slide our clip up under. All right. So now we've got the back of the hair here. I'm going to wet it down a little bit. Parting by the ear, is that right behind the ear? So it's not right behind the ears. So what I was taught, and this is, Tracy's asking this question. So let me zoom in so you can see better. So what I was taught in school is to section right behind the ear up to here, which some people still teach that. For me, and with like a day of hanging out with Sam Villa, I think is where this really came from, was he was in my studio filming and he broke down a little bit of sectioning and it just had a little light bulb go off in my head because the density between these two spots, so let me back out now a little bit. So those of you guys that are new on here, I talk about this a lot, but the density between here and all the way to the back around to the other side is the same. And then the density from this point here all the way to the front of the head is the same. So when you're doing a haircut, think about like, are you going to cut thin hair the same as thick hair? Are you going to cut high density hair the same as low density hair? No, right? That most of us would have that answer. No. So why wouldn't I want to be aware of where it's low density and where it's higher density? So that's kind of how we work through it. All right. Can you use synthetic hair on a mannequin to practice cutting hair? I wouldn't recommend synthetic hair, but I mean, you can do anything, and any practice is better than no practice. So, you know, I use human head or human hair mannequins from Pivot Point. You know, I invest a lot of money in mannequins, and because I like to practice. I like creating different haircuts and just kind of spending time doing this. So I think if you're going to get the most out of your money, you're going to spend, you know, maybe $20, $30 more to get a human hair mannequin, but it's worth it, in my opinion. Then you can style it, color it, do whatever you want. Plus synthetic hair, I wouldn't cut with my good scissors. Just an opinion. I don't really even know if there's a good reason behind that, but I wouldn't. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut the sides first, then we're going to cut the front. I just want to kind of determine, I never really look at the back and the front as the same haircut because they're different. So I want to do what I want to do to the back, and I can do that because this all lives in the same. If I tied this into it and I just cut whatever I wanted to in the back, I might end up with a hole or you know, just shorter hair than I wanted because it's different. So knowing that I have this section away, I can really focus on what I want to do in the back. All right. So here, Here we go. So I'm going to separate this. I'm going to split it right down center back first. So just like this. And a wise man once said, it's not about the hair that you cut, it's about the hair that you leave on the head. Forget who that wise man was. But that's going to be a big thought today, because we're not going to cut a ton of hair. But it's going to have a really beautiful result. All right. Come over here. So this is kind of what I talked about first. So what I want to do is I want to pull this entire section over to right in front of the ear. So it's all going to get layered at this point here. So let me go like this, show you guys the back. Back out here. So just like this. And I don't need to bring everything up because this is just going to be length. But I do need to make sure I have everything most likely from the occipital bone up. You could grab a little bit lower too if you want to. Just have as much hair as you can control in your hand, because you can always grab more if you want. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to comb this over to above the ear. Now let me show you guys overhead for 1 sec. I'm not going to cut with it overhead, but I want you guys to get the visual. So here we go. So this is the parting right here. I'm bringing the hair directly over the parting. So that's where we get this pinched look, the over direction from this part of the hair. And this is where when we cut into this, using our tri-razor, it's going to cut shorter layers. We're going to pretty much do like a scooping motion through. It's going to be one swipe. And this is where, it's pretty cool in the way that this tool works. So we're going to pull the hair over just like this, and I'm going to swipe it. And I actually think I'm going to do it from this view because it just looks good this way. So let's do that. So I bring the hair over. Remember, bring as much as you can handle. Doesn't matter if it's pulled up a little bit in this bottom part, if you're pulling some of this hair up, because that's just going to over direct it a little bit more, and there's nothing wrong with that. So grab as much as I can handle. Now I've got my tri-razor in my hand. I bring the hair over, get it combed tight from the root, just like that, nice and vertical. And then I'm going to take the tri-razor, and now you got to determine the length that you want to cut this, right? So I'm going to go mid-shaft to ends because I want kind of a medium length layer sitting on this haircut. The shortest points will be obviously right here, and then it will get longer and longer as it goes to the back. So because of the over direction. So I'm not really worried about it being too short right at this moment. And because we sectioned it the way we did, we're okay. So I comb the hair again. It's like this. Hold it nice and tight. And now I'm going to slide the tri-razor. Tilt so you guys get a better view of it. Now in the salon, you don't need to tilt. I'm just going to tilt so you guys can see. Actually, you don't get it it's not really making your view better. All right, so just like this, out. And then I'm going to slide mid-shaft to ends, all the way through. Now, what's cool about that is it's going to create a ton of layers. So let me pop back to the angle here. Now, this is going to be very thin down here. We're going to cut this later, so don't worry about that. The internet likes to freak out about that. Don't worry about it. So here, you can see all the layers that pop through it already. Let me show you. So right here, tons and tons of layering that pops throughout. Shortest piece here gets a little bit longer towards the center back. All right, so now we're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to bring it over. See where we're at. See if we should go overhead again. So we've got it here. I'm going to bring as much hair as I can handle over to me. Now, somebody's going to be asking, how do you determine your guide? Well, I'm just going to go mid-shaft to ends again, which will make it very similar. They don't have to be perfectly matched up. Very close, and you can check it after. So mid-shaft here to ends, swipe through, just like that. And now we'll comb it out. You're going to see these layers popping through. All right, cool. All right, so now we're going to work into the front. And we're going to do a very similar technique here. By bringing all this front section up and over to me. All right, let me wet it down a little bit. All right. Here we go. Now I'm going to bring all this hair up. Take out just a little bit of the length. We'll cut into that later as well. Let me just separate this. You don't have to, you could just pull all that forward, but I just want to separate it for a visual standpoint. So just like that, bring it up. And when you're cutting condensed, which is what this is, you want to make sure that you have the right amount of tension, and you want to make sure that you're really scooping up that entire section. So I go right above the parting in the middle of the head. So just like that. Let me go to the overhead so you guys can see that. So I bring it up. Over top of that center parting, and then I'm just going to slide through. What that's going to create is layers and a face frame. Which you'll see more, obviously, when we blow it dry, but you can see here, we got layers, a face frame through it. And we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. So somebody was asking where you get the Tri-Razor. This is actually our tool that we came out with. So you can pick it up on our online store. So Shop FSE, it's free salon education. So you can just jump on there and get it. All right. So here we go. Last section of the cut. Now it's hard to believe this happened really fast, but that's what it's all about, is doing things in a quicker manner using condensed cutting when you can. Now, every haircut you can't, but some you can, and this is one of them. So we'll let out some of this bottom section here. Comb that. That's our length. And then I'm going to bring this hair up to the top of the section. So nice and tight. Scoop it. Once we have it there, now I'm going to go mid-shaft 2 ends. Just swipe through. All right. So pretty simple, and that kind of works you through the cut. And then we'll blow it dry, and then I'm going to cut the base, the length, because I want to see how skinny it looks, because it will look skinny. We removed all the weight from this area here, and then it's obviously a little bit kind of skinnied up here. So Mary, see that you said you ordered the razor. We will look into it. Just send me an email, matt@freesaloneducation.com. 7 weeks ago was prior to our pre-order, so it should have shipped out. Not sure where you live. That could be what's holding it up a little bit. All right, so we're going to blow it dry. So let me grab my blow dryer. And we're going to do a nice little round brush blow dry into this. Check something here. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn down my microphone a little bit because I don't want to blow your ears out with the blow dryer. And then I'll come back as soon as we're done blow drying. So here we go. Hang on, guys. I'm trying to figure out how to block Sean because he's driving me nuts. I'm filming this video to put out on YouTube, and I'm taking my time blow drying because I want it to look nice. So it's just hard to talk and blow dry at the same time. But that's okay. I didn't want to do a rough dry because I don't want the hair to look rough. So you can do a rough dry and you can still smooth out hair. This is just the way that I like to do it. Sometimes I do a rough dry, but the internet gets upset about rough looking hair as well. So just working through this to make it nice and smooth. Thanks, Janice. Thanks, Cal. I get it, Sean. Patience, my friend. Patience. I want to see it too, trust me. And round brushing is not my favorite, so I'm with you. So you'll see it. I'll show you guys some of the disconnection here that we'll go into and cut a little bit with scissors. Thanks, Kristen. All right, a couple more sections, and then we'll do a little dry cutting, and then we'll finalize it. So I'm going to blow dry all of this forward. Hey, Robert. All right, guys, so I'll break this down as soon as I get this section done. All right, so like I said to you guys at the beginning, we didn't cut the bottom yet. So the bottom's gonna look super skinny, but we're gonna go in and use our scissors to remove some of that length. And then I'll finalize the style using some sort of wand or something like that. But you'll see kind of how it's starting to unfold here. So you can see the pieces around the front. I mean, imagine this didn't have any layers before we cut it. This was all one length. And now you look at how just pulling those two sections to the center and cutting them with the tri-razor just completely creates this massive amount of layers throughout. Now, it's not finished, so this is not a finished result. Those of you guys that aren't hairdressers that are in the room, it's gonna be a lot better when we're done. But Robert Reed is also in the room, and these brushes that I'm using, these Ergo brushes that are available on our shop, you can see there. See if I can focus in there. So these Ergo brushes are available for purchase, and they're my favorite brushes ever. So I used the round brush today. I like using the paddle brush, the diamond head brush. These are my go-tos. You guys that follow me know that. But it's cool to have him in this chat. So if you have questions about Ergo, maybe he's still here, and you could ask them. So all I want to really do here now is to go through and take off that length. So close that out. Grab my cutting stool, front of the face there. So the technique will be pretty simple on this. Just spin the head, sit down. Tilt the head down a little bit. And now the length will be obvious, but I also don't want it to be, I want it to have a shag effect, and I want it to kind of have a nice texturized appearance to it. So I'm not gonna cut a blunt line. What I'm going to do is I'm literally going to take this hair as I see it in here, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut to remove just some of this length in here. So I'll hold the hair, I can pinch it and cut into it, and just really work to get a nice length. So let me go over here first. So just working in, slide cutting. So you can see it cuts it nice and blunt and makes it look a little fuller, but doesn't give me that blunt line that I don't want. Do the same thing over here. So right around the face, take some of this weight out here. And if she had a back and shoulders, I would just, do it right along that. Let's see where we're at. Cut into this. These are the disconnections that we had in this temple area. So I just removed quite a bit of the length from those because I really want this short to long effect. So I want the layers in here and then into the back as well. Cool. And then you could see how long those layers get in the center back of the head. So this is where the heaviness sits, which is kind of cool because it gives it that V shape effect in the back. So you could cut your perimeter that way as well. All right. So now I'm just going to hit it real quick with a wand just to define a little bit of the wave. I'm not going to do the whole head like that, but I got the volume with the round brush, and now I'm going to go in with my wand iron and give it a little bit of shape. So here, and this will be kind of bigger sections, so I'll take some hair. You don't even have to comb it necessarily, and I'll just put it around the wand just to add that shape into it. Let me zoom in a little bit. What about wavy hair? This is a great haircut for wavy hair. Curly, you got to be a little careful. I'd go longer. But for wavy hair, it's great. So here, I don't even put the ends in it. Just kind of works so you can see that little beveled wave that happens. So here, same thing. So just forming slight wave in there. What temp is your wand? So for this hair, I'm keeping it at about it's at 390. But 375 I think is good for, human hair that is going to be on your head for a long time to make sure it stays there. So this isn't I don't want to wave every bit of this, but I just wanted to define some of it. And I'm not stretching it super tight on the wand either, just kind of letting it curl, not curl, wave, nice and soft. Thank you guys. I see the comments. Appreciate it. How do I turn off the subtitles as they're covering the bottom? Yvonne, there's just a button on the live where you just take away the subtitles. Might say captions, something, I don't know. It's amazing that there can be subtitles on a live video. That's very interesting. Some of this, I just want to comb it out a little bit, then put it in the iron. Do you sell the wand? I don't sell the wand. This is a Paul Mitchell wand, though, so you could probably buy it on their website. Turn it off so I don't burn the place down. There we go. All right. Get back to the front. And now these are obviously extreme waves that are in it. So what I want to do is kind of run my hands through it a little bit, start to bring it all together to life. Add in. A lot of stuff gets pre-done, guys. And there's a reason for that. It takes a little bit longer. I like sharing it all with you. Nothing to hide here. So I'm just going to work through this because, again, this is a tutorial that I'm recording for YouTube. So this is what I would be doing. Just working through. I'm not trying to rush. Some of these pieces, I'm going to go in and define those like this here. What's up, Adele? Thank you, Kel. Appreciate it. Sharon. Good thing you didn't pay for it. All right. And if I had a husband that judged my hairstyle that much, that's a whole nother world of problems. All right. Twist it up here. Hair is subjective, guys. A lot of people have different opinions about what is current, what is trendy, what is good, what is bad. And that's okay. Turn it a little bit. So one of the best, this would be a great haircut for thick hair, for sure. Thick hair, slightly wavy hair, it's great as well. Skinnier hair, you're going to see the ends are a little bit skinnier. That's okay. I like that, but some people don't, and that's totally fine. So my thought process would be that I would change things a little bit if it was finer hair. So in the back, I would maybe do standard layers if it was fine hair, so that when you look at it, what we did was we brought everything to the side and took that weight out and pushed it to the back. So it got the most dense here, but we left a lot of length. So what I would have done is cut it longer or did standard layers in the back for finer hair. That would be totally cool as well. So you could do that. That would make the back fuller and the bottom fuller. And then on the sides, you could do a similar thing to what we did, keep the disconnection, but maybe just take some of the top layers a little bit shorter and leave more length towards the bottom. So maybe just take this front triangle section here and cut that forward, and then the rest of it cut a little bit lower, cut it down here. I think that would be a good way to do it as well. So let me see.